Hi there, welcome to Adventure Airsoft. My name is Mike. Today we've got a very special exclusive from the world of variable time grenades, and that's from Pulse Armaments. Pulse Armaments are the market leaders in the UK for the variable time grenades, and today we're going to showcase their bestseller, which is the B1, and their newcomer to the market, which is the C1 grenades. Now, I've been using Pulse Armament grenades for quite a while. You can see on some of the videos up above now comparisons and using them against competitors like Dynatex time grenades, etc. But I'm really enthusiastic and always really positive about their products because they've served me well, and I think the price point has been really good. So I received a care package from Patrick from Pulse Armaments, which includes their B1 Gen 2, the Generation 2 version of their B1 grenade, and the new C1, which has come out onto the market around 6 months ago. We'll cover why I choose Pulse Armaments to use, and the comparisons between Pulse Armaments and the nearest comparison on the market. So let's get stuck in. So my go-to at the minute is this. So this is the Pulse Armaments, the B1 Gen 1. The reason why I chose the B1 Gen 1 at the time of me looking for a timed grenade was basically because my current timed grenade, which is the Dynatex. Now please bear with me with the colours. I was fed up of keep losing them in brush and scrubland and in dark areas. So I just gave them my son to make it a little bit more vibrant, and that's what he came up with. So that's where the colours come from. They're not a standard colour in stock or anything like that. But I wanted something that was basically a variable version of this. So this is the Dynatex time grenade, and this will go off between sort of 2 and 5 seconds, depending. It's just look at the draw which one you get, and that's what they sell it as. I wanted something a bit more variable so I could use in different environments and different situations. So looking on the market, there was only one available at the time, and there's very few available now, which was this. So this is the B1, and you can see it looks very much like a grenade. I like the fact that it had a fly-off style lever on the side, and it was quite a big lever, so when you did pull the pin out, you can have your whole hand around it, and it was secure in your hand. I also like the fact that to change the timing of the grenade was a little tiny valve on top. So all you do is pull that valve out. In this case, you need something to pull it out. So I used to use the charging lever or the charging stick, whatever you want to call it, to flick it up, to turn it either one way or the other to increase or decrease the timing of the grenade, and then pop it back down, and then you could release it and go. You don't have to sort of reprime it or anything like that. It's literally turn it on the fly. Done. Fantastic. Shortly after I bought this, which was a single shot, so this came like this. So you can choose coloured bases, which is great. It's all really well machined. It's good quality. We'll come on to a few little downsides and stuff for these grenades in a bit, because everything has a downside. Nothing's perfect. They came out with this. So this is the tri-shot. So it's a tri-shot base for this. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I wanted the fact that I could use it multiple times on a game without having to reload to that certain extent of putting more rounds in it. So the tri-shot just screws straight onto the base like so. You basically prime it like any other, and then when you want it to change to the next round, you basically pull the lever and move it around to the next notch, and therefore you've got 3 shots. So you just prime it, chuck it, done. The only downside to this grenade for me is the fact that it's quite a long grenade, and it clearly doesn't fit in a normal grenade pouch. But obviously your usual thing now of Kydex holders and holsters, should I say, are all the rage. So you can get those and you can put those wherever you want, which is fantastic. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of them because things can get clipped and pulled on it, and it can just drop off, or you're running through a bush or something, or you're running through something and they can drop off with being rubbed against something. I prefer things in a pouch because that's the way we had things in the military. If it's not in a pouch, it's not secure. So some things rub off on you. I personally use a double mag pouch. This is an issued Osprey, I think it is, but it's an issued pouch that I've had from when I served. That fits in there quite nicely. Captured pin. If you've not seen why I use these sort of retained pins, have a look at the videos. But essentially the reason why I have a retained pin is so that I can, once the pin's in, I can do it one-handed. I can open the pouch, pull the round out, pull it and it'll pull the pin out and the pin's captive, and I can deploy it one-handed as opposed to trying to faff around. But we'll come on to that later on. The other reason, the plus side to this though, although it is quite long, it is quite thin. So comparing the thickness of the grenade, you know, it's quite, it's a lot thinner than the Dynatex. The Dynatex, although that fits a grenade pouch, it is quite difficult to get out of the grenade pouch because it fits it too well. So although that's shorter, it's fatter, and then it's, you know, trying to get it out is not easy. So, but this one, although it's again it's slimlined, you can get your hands around it and then pull it out, and it's easy to deploy. So, you know, pros and cons from each one. But that's the B1 Gen 1, which has been absolutely faultless for me. It's been a fantastic grenade. Let's move on to the improvements of what the B1 Gen 2 is, and why that is the grenade you need in the area of variable time grenades. So the first I'm going to look at then is the B1 Gen 2. So this comes in this nice packaging, this nice tube here. It tells you what it is. It's got so this one is a 380, so basically 9mm rounds. It's got a red base onto it, and the big thing you need to know about these grenades, and the thing that I didn't realise until I chatted with Patrick from Pulse Armaments, is that grenades, anything that is a grenade on the market for airsoft, it really should be tested in a laboratory to make sure that it is safe with its natures and safe to preventing damage to the users. Because the users can be from, you know, young players, I wouldn't say like still classed as children, but there could be younger players that can deploy these, and there could be older players, or they could be wherever, but they're going to be deployed against somebody. So you want to make sure that they're safe, not going to blow apart. Now, I've tried looking for what is as you'll see it's there, it's a British proof laboratory, so it's tested. I've tried to look for the British proof on my Dynatex grenades. I've got two of them. I've got this and a 6-shot, and I can't find any proof whatsoever that this has been tested, or any stampings to say that it's met any kind of legislation or kite marks, anything like that. Whereas these have. Okay, every single one of these grenades have been assured, they've been tested in laboratory to make sure that they are safe for people with all natures that they provide, which is really good, peace of mind. So they come in the tube, they come nicely wrapped up. The other things you get in the tube are a really detailed coloured instruction manual, which I didn't get with the Dynatex. So you get the instruction manual, you get the different times on it, you get loads of different information there, which is really, really good. You also get 2 spare pins. You get the reloading tool. You get a trip wire, which I got with the B1 Gen 1, but I've never used it. And I did promise Patrick, and I do mean this, Patrick, I will use this trip wire in a game. So the idea of the trip wire is, because it's variable timed, you can then turn it down to 0 seconds, like almost instantaneous. As soon as its pins comes out, it goes bang. You can make a trip wire up, and you can, you know, put that somewhere as a booby trap, which is really good. So I will use this because I had it last time, I didn't use it. To be perfectly honest, I thought it was actually a line for holding your pin, but I just thought, well, it's a bit too thin for that. But it's quite a strong nylon cord, so I thought, no, I'm gonna use it this time. So I will use it. You come with the grenade wrapped up, and again, it's a grenade, so it doesn't need like really flashy boxes or anything. Just put that down there. So this is the Gen 2 then. So it looks almost identical. If I take the base plate of that one off, whoops, and then put the base plate of what this came with on the single shots, so they're both single shots, you can see almost identical in shape and size. But what are the differences between the Gen 1 and Gen 2? Okay, so first off, initially, the texture is a lot smoother on the Gen 2 to hold and feel. You'll notice that this base ring here is double the size on the Gen 1 than the Gen 2, but the base plate, the bit that screws in the bottom that holds the round, is almost identical. Okay. The other thing to notice is the fly-off lever itself. So the spring is a lot smaller and a lot easier to compress on the Gen 1 than the Gen 2. So I don't know if you can see the springs there. That one is slightly thicker than that spring. And the actual lever themselves is a slightly different material. The etching on the Gen 2 feels really nice. So I don't know if you can see that. The etching, that's quite almost like a laser print as opposed to an etching. And the Pulse Armaments etching is really nice feel on there, a bit more grippy. And you can feel that is a lot more sturdy resistance, a lot more resistance on that one than that one. The other thing is to note, and this is the reason why this is a much more improved grenade, is the valve itself. You can see the valve on that one, it protrudes from the sort of top of the grenade, the head of the grenade, but it's very difficult to get round it and then pull it out. You need a tool just to knock it up a little bit. They've realised that, so on the Gen 2, I don't know if you can see that, you've got cut out portions where you can literally, I don't know if you can hear this, you can literally hear it click and pull out because you can get your fingers around it. You can then adjust it, pop it back in, send it. Brilliant. The other thing is they've beefed up a lot of the areas of the grenade, so you can see the top section here. They've created more of a radius, a much thicker material on these sort of two arms either side of the fly-off lever, and it's they've increased the radius at the bottom to sort of dissipate some of that shock and that potential for damage and cracking, etc. when it's being thrown. So you can really hoik this one and know that it's going to survive the impacts over the standard one. But I've not broke this one yet, so you know, fair play to them. The one thing as well to note with this, the bottom does spin on that one, but it's absolutely normal. You just grab the other node section and spin it off. Exactly the same way of priming all these grenades, and all of the bases are completely interchangeable. So if I didn't want the 9mm, I wanted the tri-shot. Tri-shot is on, so on and so forth. That's what I like about it as well. You can change different natures of these grenades, and we'll come on to sort of the reasons why, a bit of pros and cons in a minute as well. So there's the B1 Gen 2. Let's have a look at the C1. So this comes in a smaller box. See, bit of a smaller box. Exactly the same markings on the box. You can see whether it's a 209 or a 12 bore. So you get 12 gauge rounds for these, 12 gauge rounds for that as well. That's going to be a big bang. And again, that's just an interchangeable base plate. You can see again what colours are available for it, and the fact that it's a C1. So what you get with this is you get the same, colour instruction manual, how to take care of it, how to use it, and contents of the box. So really good instructions, really detailed instructions. You also get 2 pins. You get 2 pins with it. You get your normal charging lever. So no change there. And there's a C1. So you notice the C1 strangely looks very similar in the fact that it's a black cylindrical device. You can see it's got the same design characteristics that it shares with the B1 Gen 1, the Gen 2, but it's got a slightly different fly-off lever. It's got a hinged fly-off lever compared to the other one. It's got a very similar base plate, similar design, and the bits inside of it are very similar because it works. It's got exactly the same mounting of the base plate, so the round. So if, for example, this is a 209, if I wanted the 9mm, put the 9mm on. If I wanted a tri-shot, I could put the tri-shot on. So you can see there's the modularity with these is a lot more than what you get with other manufacturers. And what I mentioned before about markings, safety markings, inside of all of their grenades there is the safety markings to make sure that you can refer back to that to make sure this is safe for you to give your 10-year-old, 12-year-old that might be playing a game to put round a corner, for example. So I have confidence that this is going to not only survive but also they're protected against any injuries within that device. So yeah, fantastic looking grenade. Its design's really good. The difference between this and the B1 Gen 2 then. Okay, so B1 Gen 2 has a 0 to 5 second delay time, which again you can program yourself from wherever you want that. You can set that up before a game, during a game, whatever you want to do. So that's part of the sort of selling point of that one. This one is a fixed 2 second delay, so it's 2 seconds regardless. So if you're not really bothered about the variability of that, you can have a 2 second delay. So let's do a comparison with these grenades. First one, let's compare it to a Dynatex. Okay, so Dynatex is the most common timed grenade on the market for price and use and availability. So this Dynatex is 234 grams in weight, loaded. It's around £85. You can find it cheaper, you can find it more expensive, but around £85 is the price point for that grenade. It's 2 to 5 second fuse, and you can rarely find any interchangeable nature heads for it because you load this from the top. That is very difficult to set as well, which we'll come on to later. So the B1 Gen 2 then. So the B1 Gen 2 is 289 grams loaded with a single shot. So it's a little bit more in weight wise than the Dynatex because it's got more stuff going on with it. It's got more characteristics. It's 140 pounds new, and it's a 0 to 5 second variable time delay. So that's important to note that obviously it's got more functionality than the other grenade to kick with, and it comes in more stuff. The tri-shot, so if I had the tri-shot loaded onto it, then that takes it to 369 grams, so it's a fair whack. Again, you're going to be underarming this or rolling it round a corner, so you don't worry whether you throw in 230 grams or 360 grams, it's still a heavy weight to be knocking around. So that's what you're paying for. Still the same variability, 0 to 5 seconds, and same 140 pounds for that bit. They don't currently sell this bit, but you can still find it around to purchase it. So that's those. The C1 then, the C1 is a single shot that it comes with. It is 279 grams loaded, and it's £100 new. So £100. The price point of this, you can see, is very close to this. They're both fixed, but that's a 2 second, and that's between a 2 and a 5 second delay. So you don't know what you're going to get with that out of the box. That is a 2 second out of the box. Big difference again between all of these is the fact that you're getting more for the money. So with this one, all right, it's a fixed time delay, but you've got the ability to change all these natures of the grenade. So you can put 209, 9mm, 380, or tri-shot, or 12 gauge on this. You can't do it with the other one. So depending what games and sites that you play at, some might allow different natures there, and you can change and adjust that with that grenade. So for me, fantastic. So let's talk about charging of the grenades then. And this is where the difference really occurs between the Dynatex and between the B1 and the C1 grenades, because charging is moved on in the industry. So charging could not be simpler. You use the charging rod, and that's charged. Let go, gone. Now, I know everyone's thinking, well, I use a Dynatex, and it's not difficult either to charge, which it isn't. It's the same principle. So with the Dynatex here, you have to take off the top. Now, I clean and oil my grenades like most pieces of kit. For me to charge this, I can't charge that one-handed with that on the end because I need to go get surface. And I've always been able to not do that. I just thought it's been the norm. So I have to use a hard surface, and there it's charged. See how much effort you have to put into that. I can't give that my son to charge, to use and to go to a game. You'll see it on my videos as well that I have to use it against a barrel or against a piece of wood or against a building to charge it, to then let it set it off. And that's with me, taking care of it and making sure that it is a little bit, oiled up, and make sure that it's functional. There's only so much you can do with it. When it comes to the C1 then, so they've taken what is already an incredibly easy way of charging a grenade and making it even easier. So this is the C1. So again, using the same provided charging method. Okay, that's it. So I'll just show you how easy that is again. It's so much more easier. It's literally, I mean, it can't be any easier. The fly-off lever is very similar to the other one, so you can get your whole hand around it, and when it's got a pin in, it's great. It's comfortable. You can let go, throw it in. You know that you can got. This is obviously a lot lighter. 270 grams is nothing really in the grand scheme of things, but again, it fits a pouch really well on the C1. And that's the grenades. So to quickly summarise then, the competition generally has a fixed delay, and you're not entirely sure what you're going to get. 2 to 5 it states for this. You get a fixed nature. Different natures aren't always available for it or supported. But with the B1 Gen 2, what you're going to get is you get a variable timed delay system from 0 to 5 seconds. You can use it as a tripwire, you can use it as a grenade, you can use it as whatever you want. You get changeable nature, so you can change the base plates from 209, 380, 12 gauge, tri-shot. You've got more variability on that side of things. And you can also put a tri-shot. So it can be a tri-shot variable grenade, which is just, for me, it's just fantastic. The only criticism I'd say about these grenades, and a lot of grenades on the market, even this one, is that they all come in black. They're all a dark colour. And if you're going to throw a grenade, even if it's in a dark room, being all black, you're not going to see it. So the only thing I'd like to see in grenades is the fact that can the body be a different colour? Can it be more of a military issue training grenade, so it's nice, bright and vibrant, so you can see it when it enters a room? Because the other thing is, if for any chance the grenade doesn't go off, you also want that shock and awe factor of the grenade coming in the room and them to react to it. Because sometimes I've even used these again, I've not primed them, I've gone to the next room and gone, well, and just put the grenade in just to have that shock and awe effect. So that's, for me, colour is a very important piece. So the last point from me is, because nowadays the features of these grenades across the board is that well refined, and certainly within these are so well refined now, from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 to the C1, that I almost think the only next logical step we need to make, or we can make, is based on how easy these are to prime, and you can basically almost do it one-handed, is that you can probably get rid of the priming bit. This is the one thing left for me that I think we can get rid of. So maybe Pulse or maybe someone else is potentially looking at that, because this is for me the only weakest link, in that you have to get this out of a pouch to then prime the grenade again to go and use it. It's still so easy, and if that never happens, it's great, maybe just too hard. But I just think, part of me thinks, if you're pulling something here, or you're pulling something down here, or you're pushing something up there, sorry, to then prime that spring inside back to its start position to reset it, without the use of this, that for me is then almost perfect grenade. Then you could have the ability of, you could have the changeable nature of it with a tri-shot, with a resettable grenade that you just pull and resets itself, as opposed to needing anything. So all you need is the grenade itself and ammunition to load in it, and that would be it for me, perfect. That's the only logical step, I think, that we can take. But I'm going to be proved wrong. This is easily, for me, the best grenade on the market, the most usable grenade on the market, and I will have a load of fun trying to get the most out of these in games. So stay tuned to see what these are like on a game day. Both myself and my son will be using these heavily, and we'll test them to we'll try and test them to destruction, but not purposefully. We'll just get the most out of them. Hopefully this video has been enjoyable for you, and hopefully it can shed a little bit of light on the comparisons between an old generation of grenade, the new stuff that's come to the market now with a fantastic manufacturer as Pulse Armaments, and hopefully it'll help you make a decision if you need a variable time grenade in your life, or even a time grenade to be able to use in Airsoft. So please leave us a comment, give us any questions you've got about the grenades. I'm happy to answer them, and hopefully I'll see you out in the field somewhere in the UK or the Northwest. Take care. Bye bye.